You got it? Is this in the frame? Yeah? Okay. You good? All right, y'all. 5, 4, 3, 2, applause.
I love it. What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling? We are back on the set of Paths Season 2, baby. Season 2. And we are here with a special guest today, Iyana Halley. Y'all give it up for her.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl, hey, girl. No, so I'm super excited for this interview. I mean, knowing that we went to the same high school, I feel as though, you know, this is just more intimate, more personal.
It's crazy how people connect. The world is so small. That's why I'm like, you always got to be nice to people because you never know who you might know. We might know the same people.
Yep. And I mean, on your path, it's important to do the follow-up and build those relationships.
Yes.
I think that's like so beautiful. So tell us, how do you get from New York to Atlanta to LA to now you're in Beast with Idris Elba?
Yes.
Well,
of course, originally from Brooklyn, New York, and then my dad, who's also in the entertainment industry, he wanted to just move us to Atlanta just to kind of like switch things up, change. You know, Atlanta got them big old houses with less prices and all of that stuff too. So we made the move out there, and when I was like in college, I was like, I want to get into acting. I just want to like figure it out. Honestly, even before then, I was taking acting classes when I lived in New York. So I would fly to LA sometimes and take the classes because my dad was back and forth. That's a whole long story. So I knew I wanted to do it. I just didn't fully pursue it until I was a little bit older. So I moved to LA maybe about 9 years ago now. And I just started Googling like how to get into classes, how to like, you know, just pretty much get on TV. And then that's when things started to like take off.
Wow. So in terms of classes and finding like that class that's like for you, what do you recommend? So when somebody Googles and finds that class, what are some of the things that you recommend they do when they show up to class, like acting class day one?
I definitely recommend auditing a whole bunch of classes first because it's classes that I've taken that weren't really for me, but I had to take them to kind of like learn that. And and I feel like for me personally, it's okay to jump around to classes because I always kind of like take things from different classes until like I find a home, which now I do think that I found a home, but it's just being open to hearing what different teachers have to say and being like, okay, this is going to work for me. Or, you know what, that's not going to work for what I want to do. Because people would try to make it be like, oh, no, you have to do this, to do da-da-da. You have to read it this way and memorize it this way. And it's like, no, you have to know what you want to do in your head and what works for you personally.
Yeah. So what is that criteria? Is it, you know, their coaching, their guidance, class size? Established?
It's class size for me too, because if you have too many people, I need individual attention. So it's like, can you really give me the feedback and the notes and stuff that I need, as well as like, are the students in your class working? I pay attention to that, because if nobody is ever booking anything, I'm gonna be like, why is everybody stagnant? You know, so that plays a part for me as well. And of course the teacher, like who have you worked with? It doesn't have to be celebrities or anything, but like, what have you done? I wanna see your resume as well. All of that plays a part for me personally.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the credibility is built.
That's important.
With the trusted, tried and true. Like, we see the path that you've taken and we're able to connect with you more as an instructor once we have that confidence that you know what you're talking about.
It's kind of like an actor. Sometimes they want to see your reel first to see like what you've done or what you can do and stuff. So I kind of compare that to like finding an acting class and stuff. And whoever makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah. So speak about that, reel. What is that for the audience, and how do you develop or create your own reel?
Okay, so a reel is basically the work that you've done, the footage that you have. So before I actually started booking reel things, I created my own reel. I reached out to a company. They wrote scenes for me, and they shot it for me as if it was like a short film. That was the style of it. So that reel helped me get into the door to get agents, and eventually I stopped using it once I started getting the real work, but it got me in the door. And you can literally, when people are like, oh, I don't have any footage, oh, I've never done anything, it's companies you can pay and they'll create the reel for you.
We did not know that. Now, wait a minute. What are those companies called?
It's so the one that I used was so long ago, but if you Google like actor real footage,
Active real feeling.
yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be
I
so
heard
many
that.
companies.
Everybody
That's
better
a
write
big
it down.
business in LA. Like it's a big business.
I
And
had
they're
no
good.
idea that existed.
Yeah,
They
it
will
helps.
film it and tape it in.
They'll film it. They'll even write it for you. Sometimes you can write your own if you're a writer or so, but they'll write it for you. They'll film it for you, and the quality is usually always like good. And you could. Sometimes I might say you could fake it till you make it. You could say that it probably was a short film. That's what I did. I was like, it's a short film. And they were like, oh, yeah, we like it. You're never going to be able to find this short film, but it got me to where I am today. So it worked.
I'm not bad at that. You got to use your resources. And
you got to get it how you get it.
You got to get it. So in getting it, what do you feel like is one of those relationship builders or networking spaces that you are intentional about putting yourself in?
In terms of like networking spaces and stuff, for me personally, when I was first starting out too, I was doing a lot of casting workshops.
Okay.
I feel like that's so important for networking. I think with the pandemic, they might have slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
There are probably some online. I even met, it's this casting director named Natasha Ward, for example, who is really dope to me. I did a couple of her workshops. She ended up casting me in something later on because she was familiar with the stuff that I was doing in the workshops. Okay. I've been to a couple of different people, even being like tasteful and selective with like the events you go to, because if it's an event and you know different actors or casting directors, you want to be there, so that they can see you. Like, oh, I met you at the macro party or whatever party you go to. So it's just, you don't want to be everywhere, but you want to be the right places so that you can meet the right faces.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Oh, y'all like that?
I love it. So in being in those spaces, I know a lot of times people are very nervous, anxious about like how they show up in those spaces. What's some recommendations or some affirmations that you tell yourself before you go into those major networking events?
Well, that's a good question because I am a nervous person. Like people were like, "You're on TV." I'm like, I'm still always nervous. So for me, I just have to remember and tell myself that I am enough. I'm in this room because God put me here. So just because I'm next to one of the biggest actors, I'm meant to be here as well too. So just reminding myself that I am enough. You got this. Like just be confident and be yourself. That kind of like just helps me shake the nerves a little bit.
I love that.
Because nerves, I mean, that's natural. It's normal.
Yeah.
But we gotta get over it some way somehow.
Yeah. And in getting over those things, what are your go-to like mental, emotional, physical habits? So like in order to stay positive mentally, physically, and emotionally.
For me, I try to meditate. Honestly, I've been doing it kind of like every day now because acting is a career that you face so much rejection. Like if you let you go crazy, you can definitely go crazy in this career. So you can become depressed. So I just try to like take moments for myself, even if it's just dedicating 10 minutes in the morning to just clear my head, not think about acting, and just be grateful and present. Like, thank you, God, for, whatever I'm personally grateful for. And that kind of like just calms me and it helps me start my day better overall too.
Yeah. Are you working out like morning, noon, night? Is it all the time? Like, I always want to know how you keep yourself up, like physically, right?
Well, I just started like consistently working out. I just was in a gym yesterday with my trainer. So now I'm trying to do it like more often, at least like 2 to 3 times a week, because it literally like kind of helps my focus. It gets my mind off of things. I'm like working out, trying to be fit. And also too with that, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So when I book Marvel or something crazy like that, it's like, okay, I've been working out, so I'm prepared for it.
Yep.
So.
Yep, and you're already trained and ready to go. I'm
ready to do stunts. I'm ready to do everything.
So, I mean, that sounds like you have a routine for your mental space, for your physical space.
I'm working on a routine. I'm working on it.
It's in the works. It's in the works. I also hear, a little birdie might have told me that when it comes to the skincare game, you're like running it out here. So how did that happen?
Well,
because you're going to be on camera. People are always on camera in the acting industry. So it's like your skin is like super important. So tell us about that.
It actually started off as a pandemic business. And I was just trying to find like things to do. And my mom, she's really big on skincare and knowing what she puts on her skin. She's like, oh, if it has this, this, and this, I don't want it. So I was like, let me create a product to where like, it's a good product. We know what's in it. So then I started just creating these formulas based off of YouTube and different things that I found. And I was in my house whipping up shea butters and stuff and finding different like scents and even colors. Sometimes I would do colors for the kids and stuff like that if they want like a pink lotion or something. But it really helped with my skin too because sometimes I go through like these crazy breakouts. And it's like I would put it on and like stick to like a time frame and how much to put on and just all of that stuff. And I feel like my breakouts would like go away.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was really cool. And then I would have sugar scrubs, which I'm obsessed with, lip glosses, all of that. I'm just a creative person.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I feel like it's the Aquarius in me. I like to be creating things and designing things, and you know, I sew as well.
Yep. Yeah, so I heard another birdie told me that you sew.
Yes.
Your grandmother taught you.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about that. And then I want to learn more about the merge of all three of these talents, like gifting.
Yeah. Okay, so sewing started off because I'm really skinny. So it was a point where I was like, dang, these clothes aren't fitting. I was like, dang, these clothes aren't fitting me the way that, you know, I wanted to.
Yeah.
So let me like start making my own things because it's always going to fit my perfect size.
Yeah.
So I started sewing. I started learning how to like take in clothes, like if something was too big for me. And then people were like, oh, I like what you have on. Can you make it for me?
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I started making money from it. So
Yeah.
it's really cool. And it merged because I would do events and I got to wear my own designs. And people were like, oh, who made that? I'm like,
Me.
I did.
Me. So as you merge those, because now it's like physical, like your skin, right? Your mentality, it sounds like you built up to affirm yourself when you go into those spaces.
Yes.
So you go from building yourself up, right? Coming really familiar with yourself, what you like, to acting classes, to now you're in front of the television, right?
Yeah.
Like you're on TV all the time. So I'm curious, agents versus managers. I want to have some conversation there in terms of which one do you get first?
It kind of depends. I have a bunch of like active friends who kind of do it differently. For me personally, I got an agent first. I think that agents are, I don't know if a good word is more beneficial, but I feel like they send you out for more things than a manager does. But a manager helps manage your career. Yep. So if I was to start over with the acting thing, because I started off with the agent, then I got a manager shortly after, I think you can stick with your agent for a long time until you have like an actual, maybe career to manage. And when I say a career to manage, it's like maybe you're on different shows and you have to like figure out scheduling and stuff like that. So it kind of depends because some managers, they act as agents too. So I think it's all just figuring out which, you know, what exactly that company does because they're all different and they do different things.
Yeah. What's some of that criteria when you're looking at an agent or somebody's like?
When I'm looking for an agent, I think the main thing for me is how many girls like me do you have? And I ask that because if it's me and 7 other girls, how do I know I'm going to be pitched, you know? Yeah. Like, in, you know, for enough things, if they're working more for me, do I even really stand a chance per se? So all of that I used to look into. Also, who do you represent? Are your clients working? Going back to the acting class thing, like, are your clients working? What are they doing? And just like the vibe of the actual person, because this is the person I have to deal with. This is my career at the end of the day. And if I don't mesh with you, then
it's not going to work.
The business probably not going to be too good. I just want to feel comfortable with whoever I'm having, you know, represent me. And I'm at a place right now where I love my manager and I love my agents, and we've grown like a personal relationship, you know?
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
important.
Definitely. So in terms of representation, where would you recommend people go to get representation? Or
I'm not sure if it's still a thing. Back in the day, it was a store called Samuel French, and they had an agent book. So I think the bookstore might be closed down, but they have these books that have a whole, like every agent in LA. Yeah. So what I used to do when I was like first starting off too is I would email them. I would send them my headshot, my little resume that I had at the time, and just like a little bio. So if you either get the book or just Google LA agents, like literally everything is on Google. Yeah, it's really resourceful, literally.
More of the story, do your research.
Do your research, yeah.
Like really do it.
And if you don't have many credits, that's okay too. Like if you have a good bio and you're like, oh, I'm in classes and I'm, you know, you're just like a work in progress, they might see the potential and be like, okay, cool, he or she has a good look, or, you know, whatever the case. You never know what they're looking for, but.
Yeah. What is the set that you've had like the greatest vibe on? I know people are going to be like, she better say I said.
That's a hard one. You know what? All my sets are fun, but I think I might have to say Beast.
Okay.
And that's because I was in South Africa. I was with Idris Elba, and the little girl who plays my sister, her name is Leah. She is literally like a real sister to me. So even off, like when we got off of work, we were still spending time together, and I felt like I had to protect her. She was like my little sister for real. So I think I had the most fun. And I got to see animals when I was on set. We'd rap, and I would see a giraffe like crossing the street. Literally.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right. Like a whole bunch of crazy. Literally, no, literally, it was a safari, but it was cool. It was really cool.
So in building those relationships, because I hear you saying, making sure like you really know the people you're working with, that you're around. Like, are you intentional about like y'all doing dinner or like just going out to make sure you really understand who they are and get to know them?
You know what? Kind of in a way, but it kind of just depends on like the job too. And sometimes I can read people's vibes. Like I've worked with so many different people where it's just like, let's go to work, let's do these scenes and let's keep it pushing. But I've worked with other people where it's like, oh, you want to hang out like after? Do you want to like get dinner and stuff? So I've worked on, it was this one film actually where it was like girls my own age and stuff. So we went out to eat and we hung out and stuff. Even with Beast, it just is very like family-like. So he's like, let's do dinner. We'll do game nights in the place and stuff like that. So it depends on the vibe of the people. Because some people, like I said, they're not that friendly. So it depends. If I had it my way, I would go to dinner with everyone and like hang out. But not everyone wants that, and that's okay.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times when people are looking to get into an industry, they will look to the biggest names or the biggest actors and actresses. So I'm curious, what is it like for you in terms of networking with your peers and really building that development with them? Like
in terms of like actor peers?
Mm-hmm. And what does accountability look like in that group, but also fun? Like, I'm curious.
Actually, most of my close like girlfriends out here, or just friends period, are actually actors. So in terms of like this happened the other day. I was about to turn down this audition because I had to do this like 1940s dance, and I was telling my friend, I was like, I can't dance, I'm about to turn this down. She's like, Iyana, just do the dance. Don't like not give them a chance to see what you can do, because if they like you enough, they can just hire a choreographer or so. So my friends, especially my friend Raven, she keeps me like on my toes at all times. If I'm slacking, she's like, are you getting too comfortable? Like, just because you got a movie out don't mean you could be playing. You know what I'm saying? So we all hold each other accountable for everything. Like turning your auditions on time. But even when we're out too, acting plays a major part in our life, but we still gotta have a real life too.
Yeah.
So we have fun and we turn up, we do all of that stuff, and then we still, focus on the work.
Yeah. What does fun
Separate
look
the
like
two.
Outside of work?
Fun for me,
is it traveling?
I'm honestly like a homebody, so it's probably inviting people to my place, and we just like watch different TV shows and movies. I go out occasionally, but I like to just do fun stuff at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
in the house. So I think that's a great segue into our audience, who I'm sure is having a great time and having fun listening to you. And so I'm curious, you have a question?
You said that you moved from like New York to Atlanta to California. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give someone that has that urge? Like, I need to move out of my, normal city. Like, what courage and what things to stay grounded when they get homesick to pursue their career?
You know what? I actually was lucky because my family did the move with me as well. So that kind of like was a really key thing for me. But if I didn't have them, I would probably go crazy. No, I'm kidding. I would pretty much just, I don't know. That's actually a hard question because I've always had my family with me. Just honestly remaining focused and knowing that you have like a specific task, which is to work and to get, whatever your personal goals are, so that you can maybe like bring your family out here or get more money to travel back home to see them and stuff. Yeah. So I would just say like staying focused on your focus, whatever that might be, no matter where you move to.
As a follow-up, what did you do to prepare for that move out to Cali?
I made sure that I had like a lot of the research done prior to me actually making the move. I didn't want to come out here and just be like, oh, what do I do? So when I was still back in Atlanta, I was like, okay, I'm gonna submit to these agencies. I'm gonna shoot with this person. I already had the photographer in my head. So I just like created a list. I like to be planned and organized.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Did you reach out in advance to the photographer?
I don't think that I reached out in advance to the photographer, but I like just I felt like he was gonna be available when I got out here.
Yep. Targeted approach.
Yeah, I mean, have a real plan. I feel like that helps with everything. Yeah. You're not blindsided. You could kind of like gauge what you're gonna do and figure things out, and I think it's just easier.
We have another question in the crowd.
Hey, first of all, thanks so much for blessing us with your story. What does practice look like for you?
What does practice look like for me in regards to like filming something or just
No, I mean in terms of like what are tangible things that I think people can learn from that you do today to like really become a better actor, better creative, better at the things that you value?
For me, making sure I like do small things like watching TV all of the time. I think that's an important practice because you want to be up to date and aware of what's going on.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
Like I told her, meditating too is like a big thing for me because this is such a career where it's a lot sometimes. So just making sure that I dedicate time to myself, even having like self-care routines. Because some people are probably like, what does that have to do with acting? But it all plays a part in like the inner being and your mental and all of that type of stuff. What else? Just doing the research and making sure I'm always prepared. Little things like working out, that's preparing you for the next action role or whatever you might get. All of that stuff plays a factor.
Yeah. A lot of times when people take their headshots, they go in with an idea of the type of character roles they plan to book. Do you recommend, would you recommend someone having that idea in their mind or?
Actually, yes. When
Okay.
I took my first headshots, I was all over the place. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna smile in every picture and it's gonna be cute.
Yeah.
But now if you have like a real plan, it's actually a website. I forget the exact name, but she kind of tells you to do that. Like I'll use me for example. I go out for a lot of daughter type, like family roles or whatever. So I would do like a shot in my headshot photo shoots where I look like the friendly daughter. Sometimes people might think I go out for like the clueless type of roles, like the like Stacey Dash, that role or whatever. So I would do one where I'm dressed the part. I have on like that outfit and I'm like doing the poses and stuff. So I think that works. If you're specific, they can see, the cast and directors can see, oh, she's dressed the part to play the daughter, to play the girl next door, the professional, whatever the case might be. So I recommend that personally.
Yeah. When you're doing your self-tapes or your auditions, who do you get? Is it your friends, your family to like help you through that process?
I actually go to a self-taping studio. I used to have my mom read, and it was, If it's not an actor, sometimes it'd be all over the place. But I personally just pay someone to help me out, and she also coaches as well if I need it.
Okay.
And the quality is top tier, because I'm big on quality now too.
So,
I go to someone. And there's so many self-tape studios like around.
Yep. What's one that you recommend?
I love iTape Studios. They have a location in Inglewood as well as in the Valley.
Okay.
I think that's the top one that I would recommend.
Yeah.
And the first time that I taped with one of the ladies, her name is Crystal, it was for The Hate You Give, actually. I booked it. Literally off of the self-tape.
Off the self-tape?
Off the self-tape, yeah, because I think I was doing things that I didn't. She just teaches you like little things like strong beginnings. You need to have that in your self-tape, and I was not doing really any of that stuff. And I was like, oh, dang, you're the key to the self-taping thing. And I've been rocking with them for like a couple of years now.
So, not to hate on mom, what is the difference in the experience when you go to a professional versus somebody who may not be an actor?
If you're not an actor, sometimes you might just be reading it as words. If I'm reading with a friend, since I'm an actress, I'm going to try to give you everything that you need. If the character is like angry or so, I'm going to give you the angry tone so that you can react off of me.
Yep.
And I feel like that helps. It helps me big time.
Yep.
If I'm pressed for time, I might go to my mother, but I'd rather go to someone that's going to give me, they're going to read slower, they're going to take their time with you, and they get it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
So, a roundabout. Yeah. So, I'm curious, what's 5 things, right? 5 actionable steps that if you had to tell your younger self, and you look in this camera, you had to tell them 5 things, and maybe 5 might be a lot. Let's do 3. Let's do 3. 3 things you had to tell them. What are those 3?
Just overall?
Yeah, and you talk to this camera.
Okay, if I had to tell younger Iyana 3 things, I would say, for one, never give up on your dreams. Even when things seem hard, keep going. Number 2 would be always keep your family close. My family has gotten me so far, and I'm so grateful for them. And if it wasn't for their support and everything, I wouldn't be where I am. And number 3 would be, I'm trying to think of a good one. Keep going. Know that you are enough, literally. Just keep going. Don't down yourself. Just have a whole bunch of confidence. It's worth it.
Y'all, clap it up for that. Oh, my goodness. You was dropping gems. You had the sites, the names, the research. I hope somebody was taking all kinds of notes. And speaking of notes, I think we got a question in the audience.
As a creative, I'm sure you've taken losses before, like many people in this room have taken losses. So what encouraging words would you give to people who may be going through a loss that maybe they could pick themselves up and get back on track and start moving forward, even if it was like a real tough loss? Have you ever experienced a real tough loss maybe in this industry before?
Not necessarily in the industry, but I know what you mean. At all, yeah, I have. So my advice would definitely be to know that it's always a rainbow, even when it's raining, and just literally just you gotta keep going and pick yourself up. I mean, not to sound cliche, but it's true. Like, I've been down, even if I didn't lose like anyone per se, but like I've been down on myself so many times, and it's like, it's okay to be sad and to, just take a moment, but know that you gotta pick it back up and keep it going, and things always do get better. Everything is okay at the end.
Yeah. What do you do in between? I'm sorry, that question. What do you do in between work? Like what does that look like? That process?
In between work, which is like right now, it's a lot of auditioning for me and staying in classes. I'm about to start back actually this week, and just trying to keep myself busy. Yeah. Like I'm trying to learn how to cook and cook better and all of that.
I'm trying to learn how to cook.
So cook better. I could cook.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to?
Okay, I'm Caribbean. My family's from Guyana, so I love curry chicken, jerk chicken. That's like my two favorite things to make.
Oh, you can cook already.
You can cook. A little something.
So in learning new things, what's one person who you are excited about working with in the future? We speaking it over. There's one person you like, I really want to work with this person.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna say Viola Davis.
Absolutely.
I want to say 50 million people, but I'll keep it at one with her.
Yeah. I mean, Finding Me was amazing. Really ridiculous.
Have you seen The Woman King yet?
Yes.
Okay. Don't ruin it for me, but I plan to see that this weekend. I know I've been.
Are you sure you don't want to ruin it?
No. Don't spoil it for me.
I think we got another question in the audience.
Did you attend acting classes in New York?
No, not in New York.
Attend acting classes in Atlanta?
Not in Atlanta.
So you attended in LA. What acting classes do you recommend people attend? Because with the pandemic, it kind of evened the playing field across the world. People can open their laptops, get some Wi-Fi, and train with the best teachers on the planet. Yeah. So what acting teachers would you recommend to anyone beginning their journey?
If you're just beginning, I would always recommend Anthony Gilardi, and he's really good for like the fundamentals. Like even to this day, I use the binder. So I took a lot of what he taught me, and I've taken other classes. I really love Sarah Mornell, who's actually Atlanta-based, but I do her classes as well on Zoom. And like you said, with the age today, like you can get on your computer and be in Africa and be, working. So I recommend Sarah Mornell as well. And currently I'm in John Kirby because I want to get into plays and maybe theater and stuff, and I feel like that class is really good with that. So depending on what your overall goal is, it just kind of depends. But Anthony Gilardi, to start off, is pretty good.
It kind of piggybacks a little bit off of what you were already talking about, but one, it's a two-part question. You mentioned representation. Not everyone in the industry or in this field thinks that they should be a role model, which is perfectly fine. Do you consider yourself as someone who wants to be that for others, young girls that might look like you? And then the other part of that is, how do you deal with that in the industry that you're in? Because there's not a lot of people that look like you said, and you might be experiencing things that are real challenges. Like, how do you overcome those things? And do you see yourself as a representation, as someone that you want others to look at and be a model of?
Oh, I actually thought about that the other day too. Do I actually want to be a role model? And my answer is yes. And that's why I'm kind of like, I try to be selective with the roles that I do take. Like, I don't want to do things that people are going to be like, oh my God, like, why would she, and like just certain things I try to stray away from, because I do want people to look up to me and say, oh, this girl did it. Oh, she's from Brooklyn. Oh, she's dark. Oh, she's da-da-da, and she did it. So I do want to be like a role model to people. And I had to learn, I don't want to say tone myself down, but to like watch what I post, watch what I do online and all of that stuff, just to maintain an image, especially with my following growing as much as it is right now. And then, second part.
being this person that is represented in a space where not a lot of people look like you, or, you know, other girls might feel like it's not a lot of people that look like me. How do you deal with that? Being the one who has to be the face, kind of being a pioneer in a sense.
Yeah, well, so with being kind of like the face, like you said, so to say, pretty much kind of like what I just said previously in terms of like watching everything that I do, just making sure that I have like a clean image, but still letting people know that, you know, I'm an adult at the end of the day, and I'm still gonna like do certain things and say certain things, but it's always gonna be tasteful and respectful. Sometimes it can be challenging, but you know, I'm up for the task. And I really do want people to look at me and be like, she did it, I can do it. Like, she kept going, she didn't give up.
Yeah. What are the words that you use to turn down, I guess, opportunities that don't align with your branding or your beliefs?
Oh, that's easy. No, because I'll pass on stuff all the time. I'll just be like, you know, this, when I'm talking to my agents, I'll be like, you know, this character, she does not fit what I'm trying to portray right now. Or, oh, this has nudity involved. I'm not ready to do that yet. Or, oh, this character is doing just some wild stuff. Oh, thank you, I like the script, but I'm gonna pass on this role. Maybe if they have other roles later on down the line. So it's really easy to just stay true to yourself.
Yep.
Literally, that's what I'm like focused on, especially this year and moving forward. Staying true to like what I want to do and my brand and everything too, because people are looking. Like, you never know. You don't want to do anything crazy or stuff you're gonna regret. Were
you saying or breaking up with the opportunity the same way before you had representation?
No.
So how does that conversation look?
Ooh, okay.
So before I get representation or agent, like how do I break up with the opportunity?
Before, I think that I was a little bit more open to accepting like certain things, but luckily I've never done anything that was like wild or, you know, crazy or so.
Yep.
But even when you're starting off new, by the way, with representation, some agents, they don't want you to turn anything down. They're like, do this, do that, or we're gonna drop you. So it is harder, but you still have to stay true to yourself and be like, thank you for the opportunity, but this doesn't align with what I'm trying to, you know, have going on for myself, however you want to phrase it.
Okay.
So it might be a little hard. And some agents may or may not drop you, but you have to know who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
But that's probably a hard space to navigate, because you also don't want the reputation to be like, this is an actor or actress that be turning down opportunities, but at the same time, you're staying true to yourself. So it's like, you're courageous for that. Like, you gotta have some real courage.
It's hard. I remember one time when I was starting off, I met with this agent. She's actually a big agent now, but anyway, I met with this agent, and I remember sitting with her, and she's like, everything that we submit you for, we want you to audition for. And I was like, okay, what if it's like certain things that I'm personally not comfortable with? She's like, oh no, like we want for you to do it, or you're gonna, I think it was like marks or tallies or something. And she's like, once you reach like 3 or so, like we drop you. I was like, so if it's 3 things I don't want to do, you guys are just gonna drop me? And I didn't sign with her, but I was confident enough to know that I would find someone else later. It might have taken a few months to find someone else, but I had to know, like, I'm a good actress, I'm enough, I'm confident. Just because you don't want to rock with me or I don't like what you're going, I'm just gonna keep it moving. And trust God and walk with faith.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to season 2 of Paths. And we are so excited to have you. Thank you so much for gracing the stage.
And I just want to say really quickly, like, dreams do come true, and I'm so proud of myself. Like, to be on a screen, sharing it with so many people, to be on so many, like, awesome TV shows, like, it doesn't matter where you come from or how you look. Like, keep going, don't give up. Like, seriously, no matter what, do not give up.
Absolutely. Keep going to the next episode and the next season. See y'all soon. Thank you so much.
Aphrodite, then discuss, her rapper, messy colors, never become business. I love Aphrodite, then discuss, her rapper, messy colors, never become business. I love it when you couscous, love it when you couscous, love it when you couscous. I love it when you